Hello and welcome, dear dreamer. I am your deep sleep storyteller, here to carry you gently into the night. Before our story begins, where are you listening from tonight? Drop your location in the comments below.
You want a ghost story? Turn off that recorder. Some things aren't meant for tape. Just listen. Pour me some coffee first. Winter of 1953. I was 29, working nights at Hartley's Radio Repair on Clement Street in San Francisco. Small place. Smelled like solder and old cigarettes. My boss Gus had gone to Sacramento and left me the keys. The shop was barely 12 feet wide. Long counter on one side, shelves of broken Zeniths and Philco's floor to ceiling on the other. Dead quiet by 10. Fog rolling off the bay like something alive. The set that started it all was a Crosley console. Big mahogany cabinet, cathedral top. A woman named Mrs. Aldine Marsh had brought it in. Said it belonged to her late husband. Said it had started making sounds on its own. I figured a faulty capacitor, nothing I hadn't seen before. I plugged it in around 11. The dial lit up that beautiful amber color and I tuned slow, listening for problems. Nothing but white noise across the whole band. I left it running and went back to work. That's when I heard it. Not music. Not quite a voice. More like the shape of a voice. Low, patient. Like the man had all the time in the world. I walked back and crouched with my ear to the speaker grill. The voice said, clear as you're sitting across from me, Earl. Don't go home tonight. I nearly knocked the whole thing off the bench. I told myself it was a cross signal. A coincidence. I unplugged the Crosley and went back to work. At 11:30, I plugged it back in to test the tuner. The amber light came on. The static came on. And then, without my touching the dial, the needle moved. Slowly, deliberately, it slid from 710 all the way to 940. The voice came back. Same voice. Same terrible patience. Your apartment. The gas. You left the burner on. Did I believe it? I want to say no. But I'd been alone 4 hours. The fog had swallowed the street lamp, and there was something in that voice. It wasn't threatening. It was familiar. I locked up and walked the 6 blocks to my apartment on California Street. Gas. Faint but real. I'd left the back burner on, the one with the faulty pilot light. The kitchen window was painted shut. The apartment had been filling for hours. I threw open every window and sat on the fire escape for 20 minutes. Shaking in a way that had nothing to do with the cold. Next morning, I stood in front of that Crosley for a long time. Tested every tube. Checked every wire. Found nothing wrong. Not a single fault. I called Gus and asked what he knew about Mrs. Marsh. Silence. Then carefully. Why do you ask? I told him everything. He didn't laugh. He told me Mrs. Marsh's husband, Thomas, had died in their apartment 2 years before. Gas leak. Alone. By the time anyone found him, it was too late. Thomas Marsh had worked for 30 years as a radio operator. I returned the Crosley the following week. Told Mrs. Marsh I couldn't find a thing wrong with it. She smiled. Not surprised, just sad and warm. Said Thomas always loved that radio. Said he used to stay up half the night talking to strangers across the country, just to make a connection. She asked if it had given me any trouble. I said no, ma'am. No trouble at all. I never told her the truth. But I never left a burner on again. Not once in 50 years. Every now and then, when the fog comes in thick off the bay, I think about that amber dial glowing in the dark. And I think about Thomas Marsh, sitting in the ether between stations, patient as the dead can afford to be, looking out for strangers. Now turn that recorder back on. But that's the story, and I'm not adding to it. Earl Donahue, San Francisco, September 14th, 2003.